Did he jump the fence or did he walk through it? Let's put on our detective hats and brainstorm. The information publicly available goes as follows. A process server, Justin, was arrested for trespassing Travis Kelce's property to serve Taylor Swift papers in regards to the Baldoni versus Lively case. Now, Taylor's side is saying that he jumped over the fence. Justin, the process server, is stating that he walked through an open gate. So let's go into all of this, shall we? Whether it was Blake or Justin that hired the process server, we know that the process server worked for a third-party agency. So right off the bat, I will say that whoever it was that hired them isn't necessarily in the wrong for any of this because they just hired someone to do a legitimate job. No wrong there. So they have no control what the process server does. That's on the process server. But we can brainstorm what may have happened because, the case basically just kind of closed down because the Justin, he doesn't have the money to be spending on this case to be months or years. His livelihood is on the line if he loses his licensing. So he's just like, let's get this over with. I'm done with this. Because even if they're going to look into the proof of it and investigate, that's still going to take time. They haven't looked into any of that yet. So I'm going to walk you through the scene of how this may have played out in the actual location, but I want you to know, disclaimer, all the information that I'm about to share with you, some of it is redacted. I'm not going to give you the specifics of the location for their privacy, but everything that I'm showing you is publicly available. So nothing is something that I've just grabbed myself. It's just, this is all publicly available information. The process server, Justin, was arrested at Travis Kelce's property. Travis Kelce lives in a gated community that only has 14 residents. So very tight-knit, gated, they have security, everything like that. So when I say tight-knit, Google Streets, when you can see in-person view, it stops where the gate starts. So you cannot see anywhere in satellite view, anywhere in this residency. So that just shows you how tight-knit, locked down this place is. There's a guardhouse at the gate. So no matter what, there's going to be security, no matter what time of day it is, that's going to have to let him in. But here's the thing. Legally, the security guard has to let the process server in. But obviously, they're going to get any credentials from Justin to ensure that, hey, you are actually a process server like you say you are. So he's going to show proof that he is, show his credentials, and then go in. But here's the kicker. The security guard, depending on what the rules are within the agency of this residency, he could still have been told, hey, whenever this happens, you do need to notify the residents that, hey, someone's going to be coming by. So we don't know whether or not Taylor had a heads up, hey, someone's coming by, they're going to be coming by your house. And the 2 a.m. thing, the more I think about it, there was a game that night. So it's not weird to think that if this wasn't their first attempt, which we know it wasn't, that they were thinking, hey, it's 2 a.m. Maybe she was out celebrating out with Travis, because we always see pictures of her out at his restaurant after a game. So who knows? They could have been there and then came back home. So he's not thinking oh, she's still up. He's not going to be thinking, oh, she's sleeping right now. You know what I mean? Obviously, the 2 a.m. thing wasn't very courteous. We can all agree on that. But Kansas doesn't have any time limitation on when they can be served. So legally speaking, he was in the realms in regards to the 2 a.m. Now, whether or not the question of if he jumped the fence, that would be trespassing. And that's specifically why he was arrested. Now, we can agree the 2 a.m. thing wasn't very cool. But at the same time, if they've been trying to do this multiple times to serve her, they've already seen, hey, she's had a pattern of dodging subpoenas and getting out of lawsuits that way. So they're going to continue to try. And like I said, if they're assuming maybe she was out with, celebrating, that could be why they were like, let's just do 2 a.m. because she could still be up versus doing it at 4, 5, 6 in the morning. You know what I mean? Now, here's the thing. We also don't know which gate that they're referring to, because if you look closely, this is Travis Kelce's property, but he also has a gate at the beginning of his driveway. Here it is zoomed up, so I can't really tell if it's one where it has a gate that you can lock, but nevertheless, that could maybe be what they're referring to as a fence if it is gated. In the court documents, Justin also states that there were no trespassing signs. So I can't tell if this sign, because zoomed in, you can't really read it, if that's one of a sign that says no trespassing, or if it's just the name of the residency. I don't know. It's not legible, so that's why I felt comfortable posting that part. Now let's get into the map, shall we? So as you can tell, we've got the gate and then the house. So this orange here that I drew for you, that would be the entire route that Justin would have to take, whether in his car or on foot, to get to Travis Kelce's property before he served the papers. Now, as you can tell, that's quite a ways, where it would give Taylor, if she got a heads up from the security guard, plenty of time to call the police, and why they would have been there pretty close to almost as soon as he got there, because like he said in his papers, he never even had a chance to talk to her security. So they never found out why he was there. They just called the police. So we don't know whether or not he, jumped the fence and then they called the police, or they called the police as soon as maybe a guard let them know that, hey, he's on his way. We have no idea. I also want to point out how far away the neighbor was. So you can see we've got the house and then the neighbors right over there. So it's a little bit of a street to get to her house. So why she was labeled as a witness on the police report, I'm not really sure. I'm chalking it up to maybe she was at the house, which again brings the idea that they were out celebrating, and that could be why he did the 2 a.m. All right, so if it's Blake that hired the process server, it would make sense why everything seems so conveniently calculated, like the process server having the exact same name as Justin, them having Star Magazine and being right down the road from her law firm. It makes sense. Now, if it was Justin that hired the process server, we have even bigger questions, because he was asked directly from TMZ. And this is what he said.
Justin, last question. Look, listen, do you know anything about the guy who tried to serve at Taylor Swift, Travis's house? Know nothing about it? I'm in crazy room. All right, buddy, thanks.
All he said was it was a crazy rumor. But what part? Is it a crazy rumor that he hired the process server? Or is it a crazy rumor that he jumped over the fence? What do you think? Would you consider that a lie, or would you consider it PR and legal training? Unfortunately, there's a lot of unanswered questions that I don't think the public will ever get the answers to. But what do you guys think of all of this? As always, this is all alleged, so take it with a grain of salt. We're just throwing theories, brainstorming. Take it with a grain of salt. As always, follow me for more.